Hi there. Greetings, salutations, happy July. My name is Jake Query. What?
Happy July?
It's July.
It's like July 6th. Is this our
Midway
third
through
show
July.
that we've done in July? Yeah, this is the third show.
Well, it's, you want me to say
Happy
August?
July. It's July 16th.
Do you want me to say happy June? It's
Happy
the dog,
Memorial Day, everybody.
It's the dog day of summer. You know, Memorial Day weekend is when the Love's birthday is. just so
Okay,
you know.
yeah. Happy July, sure. Yeah, happy July. Hi.
Happy mid-July.
Happy day. How are you?
I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm having a day so far. I can tell you that.
Well, there
I'm
you go.
having a day.
Because it's July.
Yeah,
It's the dog days of summer, right?
I'm having a day.
But I do love July because it's warm and it's light out until like 10 o'clock at night, which is why I'm tired.
Been all swampy in Indy this week.
Huh?
Ugh. Yesterday was ugh.
Well, I was in Iowa. It was another.
Yesterday was miserable to go outside. Awful. Hate it. Worst weather of the year. I'd rather have 20 degrees, honestly,
Then what?
than what we had yesterday, than 95 and humidity.
What about just stifling hot? Like I was in Iowa and it was like 95 and sunny and just
It depends. If it's
hot
like
air.
the Arizona heat, then it's not as bad. But if it's that humidity like Houston heat, then it's ugh. Awful. Awful. Let's start the show. Go
Gold
ahead.
bond is
Do
important
your
in that
spiel.
situation.
Do your spiel. Yeah. I still use Johnson's. I just do baby powder.
No, Gold Bond.
Yeah.
Medicated.
I've always used baby powder, and that's what I still use.
Well, that makes perfect
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Actually.
But I pretty much pit out no matter what. So I can't find. I've tried
Not at all where I was going with that?
I've tried prescription antiperspirants. I've tried everything, and it just doesn't work.
Antiperspirants?
Yeah, I've had.
Hold on.
Somebody write me the script for them.
For an antiperspirant.
Yeah, yeah. This was a while ago. This was when I was younger.
Is this a medication to make you stop sweating, or it's actually a thing that you put
No,
on
like
and-
it's like a roll-on whatever, and still like genetically, I'm just impervious to. I don't stink, so deodorants work for me, but antiperspirants just do not work.
If you don't stink, you don't need deodorant. What are you deodorizing if you have no
Well,
odor?
but I still use deodorant because I don't want to have the stink.
But
So
you just said
I
you don't stink.
still have the wet. I don't have the stink, but I still have the wet a little bit. But it's kind of like a manly thing, right? It's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of like one of those things. I'm just
Did you ever
oozing
think,
testosterone.
Did you ever think that if you remove the sweater on your skin?
Let's discuss
that
your
you would-
least favorite. Okay, yeah. We're having a let's start the show. Let's not. We're 3 minutes into this. Let's not get too off track. People are already tuning out. I can hear them. They don't want to hear it.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody. If you have a prescription deodorant that you
Hey,
use,
maybe
let me know.
Maybe you're sticking
Antiperspirant.
around as long as you did for the home run derby, which is probably at
Yeah.
this point you've already surpassed that. Here's my question for you in July, Derek. And my name is Jake Query. That's Derek Schultz. Happy July, mid-July to you. So the Major League Baseball All-Star Game is here. All-Star Week is upon us. Weekend, whatever, midweek.
Yeah, we're taping this right now, early Tuesday morning.
And the home run derby comes right on the heels of the ESPYs. And I'm genuinely asking this. I'm not trying to be snarky. I am 51 years old. The ESPYs, to me, there are certain areas of pop culture that I will admit to being like timed out of the demographic, the target demographic. The analogy that I always use, Derek, is when people talk about SportsCenter, ESPN SportsCenter, and you ask a 40-year-old guy, do you watch SportsCenter? Dude, it is so lame anymore, man. I mean, it used to be awesome, but they've just changed it, and now, like, I can't even watch it anymore, okay? But you ask a 20-year-old, and they're like, oh, it's great. I love it. Like, it's so fun, and so-and-so's great, and so-and-so's great. But and then that 20-year-old in 15 years is going to be saying the same thing because the target demographic of SportsCenter is probably realistically a male high school sophomore to 22, 23-year-old young professional. That's the target audience. The ESPYs to me are the same thing. I don't know if they've ever been a thing, but I kind of don't understand the whole and now the award for best NBA team. I thought we settled that.
I think they were a thing when
the
they
Boston
first.
Celtics.
If I don't even remember what the first year of the ESPYs was, 93.
I think that's right.
I mean, you're talking like peak SportsCenter then.
Yeah.
I mean, ESPN was pretty much at its apex around that time. So the ESPYs were relevant then, and they were.
But here's the
through
question,
most
Derek.
of the 90s.
But what I'm saying is they were relevant to you. Are the ESPYs and SportsCenter just as relevant to today's 20-year-old as
No, because it's just different now. I don't have to go to Sports Center to see a great play that my
that's
buddy
true.
told me about that I missed.
No, that's
a fair
point.
My VHS recorder wasn't on, so I can't see the play unless I go to Sports Center and watch the play or wait for the 6:30 evening news on NBC4 out of New York.
Right.
I can just go to Twitter and see the play immediately, bang, or on my phone or whatever else, or somebody texts me the video of it. We consume highlights, especially, a lot differently than we did 30 years ago.
Okay, so the ESPYs to me kind of feel like they've run their course. All of this is leading up to. I have never now. Because we've done this a billion times. The Major League Baseball All-Star Game, 1983, 84, 85. I mean, I can name boom, 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 right? I know
93, 94, 95. I could do.
I mean, Fred Lynn was the first player with a grand slam in Major League Baseball All-Star Game history. I remember it like it was yesterday. Davey Concepcion was playing it. I mean, all of it. But I don't know if it's because I'm just not a kid collecting baseball cards anymore. But the home run derby in particular to me was from the get-go, because Chris Berman nauseated me on it with every time. Oh, God, oh, my God. Yeah, it's a home run derby. They're supposed to be hitting them far. But last night, we're taping this on a Tuesday, feels like it's hit its NBA slam dunk contest level.
I heard it actually was a really good home run derby. Like, Witt Jr. was about to tie him, and they would have a swing off, and it basically hit the wall. Like his last one, if it would have gone over the fence, it was like a really dramatic home run derby. But yeah, Jake, I mean, what baseball is becoming, and it's not here yet, and it probably won't be, but baseball is much closer to hockey than it is to football.
That's fair.
We don't have to talk about baseball in this market. We don't. If you're in a market that has to talk about it, you do. Whereas folks in Cincinnati or San Diego are talking about LeBron James and Steph Curry in the NBA Finals. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's becoming market-specific and region-specific. If you're in a region that cares about it, if you're in a market that has a team, then you're talking about it. If you're not, you're either not talking about it or you're barely talking about it.
I think the thing that's amazing about Major League Baseball to me, Derek, you have a guy in television market number 2 in the glitz and glamour city of Los Angeles that is doing things that are unprecedented in baseball, in Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
And yet, no one seemingly cares.
It's how they market it.
It's crazy.
But it's how they market it. Baseball still markets, it's about the teams. It's Dodgers versus Yankees. It's not Ohtani versus Judge. Whereas in the NBA, it's not Bucks Pacers. It's Giannis versus Halliburton. I mean, that's how they do it. And I think there are pros and cons to that, particularly if you're an NBA team that doesn't have like a prominent star player, then nobody cares about you and nobody watches you. But baseball has always kind of been that way. I think they've done an actively poor job of promoting their star players.
The other thing, let me tell you 2 other things that come into play with baseball where it's cannibalized itself as a sport. Number 1 being that you talked about the fact that they don't promote like the players themselves and that kind of a thing. When you look at, you don't have the shows like you did. I know that sounds, the Baseball Bunch and This Week in Baseball
Tonight.
and Baseball Tonight, all those.
It still goes. I think.
That might,
Tonight,
maybe.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like the Saturday morning shows that cater right to kids and baseball card collecting and everything else.
Twib.
Mm-hmm. Derek, when I was a kid, I mean, I know I'm going to sound like an old guy here. You played Little League Baseball, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Okay. The first team you played on was?
The Indians.
Second team you played on was?
Tigers.
Third team?
Quit after that. No mas. No mas. Did 2 years, didn't get a hit, and I said, this is not for me. Yeah. So I did 2 years.
So I played on the Indians, actually the White Sox, the Indians, the Cubs, the Tigers, the Red Sox, and the Giants.
Wow.
Now, I played like T-ball and then,
Yeah.
But today's baseball, the game, now this has nothing to do with Major League Baseball. They're victim to it, though. You talk to people now. Does your son play baseball? Yeah. Who's he play for? Heat Electric.
Yeah, the travel teams for sure. Yeah.
Travel Avon.
Yeah.
So not only are kids not getting introduced, I would bet you that 10% of grown men, their favorite baseball team is the one that they got that hat when they were 8, and that was the team that they got drawn to, right?
Yeah.
And so you followed that team in the majors. But travel baseball now, you talk to parents, what comprises your summer? Oh, the kids we got travel baseball in Peoria this weekend, and the next weekend we're going to Dubuque, and then we have a weekend off, and then constant travel with travel baseball, and people are so insulated watching their kids play up through the age of 16, 17 years old that they're not paying it. They don't have time to watch sports in the summertime, which is Major League Baseball. So everybody's so focused on the travel baseball that it insulates them from the actual professional rank of it, and nobody cares.
Yeah, I just think it's a lot. It's a lot of different factors. What I will say is that I still love baseball and enjoy it and follow it. Certainly not like I used to, but I'm, my son is in there, James, and we're checking the Yankees score every morning, and then we check the Red Sox score, and then if the Yankees win and the Red Sox lose, we tell my wife. If the Yankees lose or the Red Sox win, we don't say anything. So we do this. We have this.
He's
routine.
a fan of which team?
Yankees. So we have this team kind of every
know?
morning because he's my minion.
Is he out there? If I asked him, what do you think he'd say?
He'd say Yankees. Yeah. That's what he would say. Yep, that's exactly what he says. And, well, who's your favorite player, bud? He's in there listening right now. Aaron Judge, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So I still like it, and I know Jordan is a big baseball fan.
Give me 2 weeks, I can get him to be a Reds fan.
I don't want to do that.
Guarantee it.
Yeah. He's already going to like the Browns. I don't want him to like baseball's Browns. So
is he stuck by the Browns thing?
Yeah, Cleveland Browns. Phoenix Suns, little cracks in that. I don't know if he's going to stay with the Phoenix Suns, but Browns, Suns, Yankees, and Purdue. Those are his teams.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how kids are. Jake, it's never going to be like
now,
us
let me
again.
tell you one positive about Major League Baseball so that I'm not completely spitting on it here, right? And I said that with a P. Last Wednesday, as I do each and every year, Shannon and I went to the Chicago White Sox game. You know what? Rakestraw asked me if there's any photos that I wanted to submit. I should have submitted for you the photo of us at the White Sox game. So you could – because
my girlfriend's so hot, dude. Check out my girl.
Great picture
dude.
of her. I'll show you here.
Check out my girlfriend.
You'll enjoy it. But we went to the White Sox game. The White Sox are terrible, obviously. Two things here. Number one, we get to the game, and I think it was like Community Day at the White Sox game, so there were a lot of little kids there, which was cool. But the upper deck, they were probably for an afternoon game between the Chicago White Sox and the Minnesota Twins in early July and a team that won their 27th game. There was a decent crowd there. But they did not allow anybody to sit in the upper deck.
Yeah.
And at one point, somebody hit a pop foul that went right up into the upper deck, and I'm like, oh, my gosh, foul ball monopoly. We got to go up there. So we went up there. Shannon very reluctantly. We went up there, and they were like, sorry, no seating up here allowed. Man, wouldn't that
be awesome? Did you try to talk your way in to get the foul ball?
Yeah. Of course, yeah.
Yeah, they just get some usher that probably goes and gets it.
That's correct. But at any rate, it was fun to go to the game. And then I had to drive to Iowa on Friday, and so I listened to the White Sox game. I'm not a huge White Sox fan, but I'm like –
you go every year now at this point. It's become like a mini tradition, right?
But there's something magical about driving on the interstate and listening to a big league baseball game
with the windows down.
It's
hot.
It's just a magical there is a romantic feeling about baseball in that regard, and there are so many traditions and old school feel about baseball that are very endearing, but they just can't seem to get out of their own way.
No, and I do think. I want to say, for the people that might, we have a national audience that watches, international audience that watches this show.
Yeah, you're right, Australia.
It's different depending on where you are, because where I grew up, it was, and it still is, water cooler conversation. Like, I was in Connecticut, so we had Mets fans, Yankees fans, Red Sox fans, and all those teams were pretty good, and the Yankees-Mets World Series, and it felt like it was really relevant and current, and everybody was talking about it. And out here, it's just not that way. Now, I don't know if that's the case now. I haven't been back in 20 years, but I think that might be based on, market and where you are and things like that. I think in St. Louis, if two guys are doing a podcast, it's still topic A. You know what I mean?
Think so?
Oh, yeah. You've been there. You live there.
No, you're right.
You cover those teams.
The Battlehawks? I sent the picture to Greg here. We got a great picture of the baseball game, Derek.
Is it just a picture of your girlfriend? Is that what you
no?
want to show?
Here, I'll give you one of the two of us.
Is this blocking my face again, Vince? This was blocking my face last week, and you didn't say anything, and I think you did it intentionally. I think Vince intentionally sabotaged the show because I've been hard on him because I demand excellence, and he's just been pretty good this summer so far. But I thought this thing was like blocking my face in the last episode, and
which is a good look.
We had viewers complain, so it wasn't just me that ended up
noticing. No way that a viewer complained about.
All right,
that.
let's shift.
But hold on, I wanted to make one other point.
Okay, go. Hurry. You have 2 minutes to make your point.
We're at the White Sox game, and we go up every year. It's always hot, but we go and get a hot dog, watch a couple of innings, walk around, go to the gift shop, and then by like the 6th or 7th, it's like, okay, we can head out and avoid traffic, whatever else. We're in the bottom of the 5th, and I'm like, wait a minute. Guy for Minnesota has a no-hitter going.
Oh.
I'm like, we're not leaving.
Yeah.
Until somebody gets a hit. And she's like, what? And the guy.
Was it Jack Morris or who was pitching?
That's right. Bert Blyleven was on the mound. And the guy in front of me in line, because we were getting a hot dog, says, look, see, great seats?
Oh, wow, yeah, and she's hot. Okay, great.
Beautiful girl, right?
Yeah, perfect. In the sun.
That's a great picture, is it not? I mean, but a decent crowd for a team with 27 wins, right? Ugh. 26, 27. So, anyway, the no-hitter was quickly broken up. So I'm like, okay, we can go. So we left. Actually, we stayed through 8. We left at the top of the 9th. And I'm listening to the game on the way home. If you go to a Major League game, you got to listen to the end of it on the way home, the radio.
I listen to all games on the way home if I leave early.
Guy for the of course, right?
Yeah.
Guy for the White Sox throws an immaculate 9th inning to win the game. To close the game.
Yeah.
Now, do you know what an immaculate inning is?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
9 pitches, all strikes.
Correct.
Yeah.
First time it had been done in.
Drew Storen did it.
Seriously?
Yeah, Drew Storen did it not that long. 9 years ago?
It is more rare.
Maybe 10 years ago now.
It is more rare than is a no-hitter.
Really?
So we
I did
left,
not know that.
Once the no-hitter was gone, I'm like, here's the thing about an immaculate inning. 9 pitches, 9 strikes. Now, in this situation, to end the game, which that alone is pretty rare.
Sure.
But first time for the White Sox in over 100 years, 1923.
Wow.
Okay, 3 years after Love Heating and Air started, by the way, love-hvac.com. And I think it's only been done 160 sometimes in Major League Baseball.
Wow.
But
I didn't know it was that rare.
The funny thing about an immaculate inning, Derek, is, and be honest, if you were at a game where an immaculate inning took place, would you know it happened until it happened?
No. Like, hey, he's thrown 8 strikes. Here's number 9 standing on your feet and cheering.
Right.
No, I have no clue.
Correct.
0.
Because you're half paying attention,
yeah,
right?
0 clue.
Now,
and it's quick. Like, there's a build-up. I've been to a no-hitter, and there's a build-up with a no-hitter.
Right.
Where, fans are starting to talk to each other. Jim Abbott.
That's pretty
93. Cool. Yeah, it was kind of neat.
Now,
Yankees, Indians.
Do you know what a perfect inning is?
Just 3 pitches?
Yeah.
I did not know there was a designation for that.
3 pitches is a perfect inning.
How many of those have there been?
I don't know. That one seems like it would be more common, I would think.
I've never heard of that in my life. I've never heard the term perfect inning before.
I mean, a guy pops up, and then,
and then the next guy,
it would have to be
the next
3.
guy lines out, and the next guy flies out.
Right.
Okay. Or grounds out, whatever. Huh. No, I've never in my life heard that.
Okay.
Yeah. But immaculate inning I've heard, and I know Drew Storen with the Reds, I think, threw one.
Can you
when
imagine?
He was in Cincinnati.
So if you were the third batter, and a perfect inning is on the line, so your 2 guys in front of you pops up, next guy gets up, lines out.
They're trying to bunt.
You get up, and you take the pitch. Are you the biggest jerk on the planet?
Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't.
Right?
I didn't think about that.
Because everybody wants to see the perfect inning.
Well, you could take the pitch, and it could be a strike.
I know, but the perfect inning's gone.
Oh, the perfect inning. Yeah. Immaculate. Yeah, sure. Yeah. No, nobody thinks about the perfect inning because it's not a thing. Summer League basketball, not much of a thing either, but I wanted to briefly talk about that, I guess. As we're taping this, we're 2 games in. Pacers have, 4 left? Do they play 6? I think they play 6. I wanted to start here, and it's a small sample size, and he's still very young. Are you worried about Jarace Walker is not progressing as quickly as I would like. Is that fair? Am I holding him to too high of a standard?
I'm fascinated by him. And the reason I'm fascinated by Jarace Walker is because one of two things is true here. One of these two statements is true. Either Jarace Walker, Derek, if you look at players that the Pacers have drafted in the first round that became really good players for them and were really good picks, but you didn't notice it in year one. Jeff Foster, Austin Crosher, Al Harrington. Okay?
I mean, Paul George wasn't great out of the gates.
Paul George.
Yeah.
Is it possible? One of two things is true. Either Jarace Walker is a guy that can flat out play and they know it, and he just has to get acclimated and they have no concerns because they're a deep team and they don't need him right now, so they have the luxury of allowing him to grow. Or Jarace Walker can't play and they know it, and they're building him up and increasing chatter of his stock to keep him as a piece that they can move.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's the former. I think they're still holding out hope.
I would agree. I would hope that that's true, yeah.
What frustrates me...
He looked good in Summer League game number 1, did he not?
Yeah, what frustrates me is that he has the physical tools to be a good defender, so why isn't he? I guess I don't understand. Like, why is that not translated more quickly?
Well, that was his whole MO in college, right?
It's one thing offensively, I get it. There's a little more, and there's a learning curve on both ends of the ball, but I think there's more of a learning curve for a guy developing his offensive game. Defensively, if he already has the body and the athleticism to defend, I don't understand why he can't do it consistently.
Right. I still maintain, Derek, when I watch him play, and I know it's a bad analogy, but when I watch Jarace Walker, it reminds me of when I was at North Central High School and I played basketball, and I mean, I had an acumen for basketball. It's the only sport, admittedly, where I did, but I just had a natural feel for the game, if you will, until we would play open gym in a fast pace with the older players. And I'd be on a break, and a shot or a layup that I could hit 1,000 times any other situation. The game was moving so fast that I was anticipating what I was going to have to do before the ball got to me, and I would fumble the ball or drop the bat. And that's kind of what Jarace Walker looks like. It looks like, to me, still the game is moving faster than he wants it to. Actually, he's moving faster than the game.
And he's still so young. But he almost reminds me, and this is maybe a bad comp, but in fact, I know it's a bad comp, but I'm going to say it anyway. You remember A.J. Hammonds at Purdue?
Yes.
A.J. Hammonds was just a really laid-back guy, just in general. And I think people took that as laziness, and I was like, I don't think he's lazy. I just don't think that, like, he's – Jarace Walker's motor, to me, also seems like it's not always firing. Like, he's just kind of Enrique Freeman, a good example in these Summer League games. Like, he is just going 100 miles an hour, right? He's, like, real active, and I wish Jarace would play like that because he has all these physical tools.
And the interesting thing being he's coming from Houston, where that's how you got to play under Kelvin Sampson.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not throwing him out. I'm not tossing Jarace Walker out yet.
Summer League is such a hard gauge, right?
But I just don't think he's progressing as quickly as I would like.
Now, did you like what you saw out of Johnny Furphy so far?
Yeah, I mean, you can see the foundational skills are there, right? He's got a shot. He looks like he knows what he's doing out there.
Correct.
And he's 19.
And that's the thing with Walker. Like, it looks like he's still feeling his way through
that's
it.
fair. He looks real comfortable. I like how he's not just a shooter in the fact that he's got a nose for getting to the rim, it looks like, early on here. So I think they can build some of that out. I mean, I don't expect him to be a contributor for this year's team. He's going to be on the NBA roster. But, I think the question for Summer League is the Pacers' back of the roster is are you going to continue with Quentin Jackson? Are you going to give Kendall Brown a third year?
Right.
What are you going to do with Shibwe? Because he can rebound, but that's literally all he can do. He can't even really defend.
Yeah, they could use that though.
He can't really score and he can't defend, and it's just tough. It's tough in this day and age. Like in 1987, there's a place in the league for Shibwe to just go out there and rebound. But you got to be able to at least defend a little bit or at least score a little bit, and he can't really do either of those things. At least not that I've seen.
But couldn't you have used Shibwe just in the New York series?
But can you have him on the floor? Who's he going to defend? And he can't score. So you're playing 4-on-5 on offense, and then defensively he's a liability at times. It's just tough. It's tough to find somebody. Like, I think Shibwe could go to Italy or Greece and freaking tear it
you're
up.
right. You're right. And make good money for sure.
I just if he's not going to have a little more development offensively or defensively, I just don't know he's an NBA
player. If you were going to play European ball, what country would you want to live in?
Ooh, that's a great question. Probably, does Portugal have a league?
I think it does.
Yeah.
Big taxes, though, buddy. Although
yeah.
it's tax-free, isn't it, allegedly, if you're an American player?
All the guys that we talked to that played in Italy loved playing in Italy.
I think Barcelona would be pretty cool.
France and Spain are high-level leagues. Yeah, that's like the best of the best. I'm trying to remember who else played somewhere that they really – I remember A.J. Moye, I think it was A.J. Moye. Maybe it was Marco Killingsworth. It was somebody from IU who played in Iceland and loved it and said he would live there full-time if he could.
Really?
And I don't remember who this conversation was like 10 years ago.
Greece has pretty good leagues, right?
Yeah, but there's a lot of upheaval right now in Greece,
Yeah,
so I don't
Greece
think I'd want to be in Greece.
That's fair.
It's a little dicey.
Croatia?
But then again, the Greeks are probably saying, "Look at these two American guys talking about how
Right.
look at America right now."
True. Croatia?
Sure, yeah, it's beautiful, right? And it's super cheap.
Looks nice.
Yeah. And if you're single and 22, 25, 28, 38, 41,
For
Croatia. It's nice.
affordability?
Affordability. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Beautiful babies out there.
Okay, beautiful babies. Okay.
Do you want to we're kind of way over on the first segment. Let's come back and talk about Jim Morris. I wanted to do that, and we'll talk a little Indiana Fever and Hoagie and Hero of the Week as well when we return. Sorry, Jake got us off track with baseball and antiperspirant prescriptions and all of that. It's Corey and Schultz, presented by Bailey & Wood Financial Group here on the ISC Sports Network.
Hey, AC, which games are we going to tonight?
You know we cover all sports in Central Indiana. Hop in. It's going to be a long night.
Bailey & Wood Mortgage Lender, proud partner of News 8 Sports Hummer.
Hey, AC,
Nice snap.
mortgage is a snap. Duh.
Bailey & Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Welcome back, Bailey & Wood presents Corey and Schultz, ISC Sports Network. He's Jake. I'm Derek. Thanks to our friends at Bailey & Wood Financial Group.
Best.
BAWFG.com, 855-350-HOME. 5-star customer service in their golf outing right around the corner, less than a month away. In fact, August 9th? It's whatever that Thursday is.
I'm struggling
Might
with
be
the
the 8th.
irons. Is that common?
I forgot. You're like golfer guy now. You're not playing in
wouldn't
this
say-
outing, though.
No, because I'm going to have to work. But
Yeah. August, it is, let me check my calendar. August 8th.
it's hard for me to hit the irons clean.
Well, that's the club that most people, everybody can drive for the most part, but that's the club that people struggle with. Them. I guess putting, you'd say, too. There are lots of people that
I
are
think
great
chipping.
golfers. That
Chipping
can't
is
putt.
hard.
Yeah.
Short range.
Yeah. I got a buddy that's got a great short game, but he's like a scratch golfer.
Drive for show, putt for dough.
That's what they say. Yeah. Look at you. You're like Mr. Golfer now. 855-350-HOME, BAWFG.com. Get pre-approved for that mortgage, and we appreciate Mike Bailey and his entire team, Chad, everybody over there, for supporting the show as they do, and that's why we swag them out here on the table. Let's get to our Hoagie and Hero of the Week before we get to Jim Morris. Okay, how about that? Brought to you by our friends at Hoagies and Hops.
I'm getting right to it.
I took a bite already because we waited through the commercial break. This is the Pit Twist. Very simple. It's like a hot summer day when you were 10 years old and you made yourself a sandwich, right? Prove, ham, mayo, slaw, potato chips for crunch. It's awesome. Really, really good standout.
Prove is provolone, by the way. Derek, you don't need to eat the whole sandwich in one bite.
I gotta take big bites. Really good. It's Greg Rakestraw's favorite sandwich. So, what's your favorite sandwich? The cheesesteak your favorite?
Yeah.
Hog's mine. Hog for me. Pit Twist for Greg. You can get it at 42nd and Boulevard, right next to the Chili Water Brewing Tap Room, where, sorry,
You couldn't have planned that ahead of time?
Where they have their grapefruit. They are restocked, by the way, cans. Their team builder, this is the Grapefruit Radler, the absolute perfectly smooth, crisp, citrusy summer beer. Am I right?
That is a nice.
Am I right?
Yeah,
That's really good.
That is.
That's really good.
That is a summer day right there.
Mm-hmm.
Perfectly
Just perfect.
refreshing.
Perfect for like a 90-degree day at Chili Water Tap Room. Hero of the week. I put Leah Boston. She's really come on here. She had a slow start to the season. Like, she wasn't very good for the first couple of weeks when they were struggling. Boston was struggling. But she's on a tear of late. Back-to-back big games in the Fever's last 2 wins. She went for 21-13 against Phoenix, 17-16 on 8 of 11 shooting in that huge road win over Minnesota. Boston's gone for at least 17 points in 5 of her last 6 games. She reached the 17-point mark just twice in her first 13 games. So she's scoring the basketball a lot better. She's always been kind of a double-double machine. And you see things starting to materialize with the core of this team where it's Clark, it's Boston, it's Mitchell basically every night. And Melissa Smith a little bit here and there, you know what I mean?
Right.
You know, they'll get good minutes from Lexi Hall at times. But for the most part, that's your core 3 right there, and they bring it every night.
I mean, don't look now, but the Fever are playing. You know, if you take out their slow start, once they've gelled, and I think, and again, this is not a knock on the rest of the roster. I think it took a while for people to figure out and kind of learn Caitlin Clark's anticipatory passes and the fact that no play is essentially dead with passing lanes with her, if that makes sense, and just the feel for each other and the chemistry on court. I know it's a buzzword, but it's true. It is the point now where, I mean, in the last 10 games, they've got, the third best record in the league? I mean, yeah, they're to the point now where people got to take them serious.
They've won 9 of 14. Their road win in Phoenix on Sunday was their best road win of the year. Or excuse me, the road win in Minnesota was their best road win of the year. And then the home win over New York was their best home win of the year. And those were 8 days apart. 7th in the standings, as you mentioned. They're 5th in the ESPN Power Rankings. They're not going to push those upper crust teams. They're not going to win a series against New York or Connecticut or
But Derek, for a team that's
separation.
Just now coming together.
Yes, but this is much more in line with, I think, people's expectations of what they were going to be. They're 4-1 in their last 5 games against winning teams, whereas they were 0-8 to start the season against teams with a winning record. I mean, that's impressive right there. So I'm very happy, and I think Christy Sides deserves some credit. I think Caitlin Clark needed some time to kind of learn too, not just her teammates keeping up with her, but there was a learning curve for her too. And something else that I'll say that it's great that this is become an every show topic.
Right.
You know, I'm sure for your radio show it's kind of the same thing. Whereas this is usually the dog days of summer.
Right.
Remember this time 10 years ago we'd be doing the Catching Up With series because we needed something to we needed content for the radio show. We weren't talking about the
and I mean they're getting, this is not us creating a narrative.
No.
I mean they're getting 18,000 people.
And it's trickling through elsewhere, like New York and some of these other places are having big crowds even when Caitlin Clark's not there.
Derek, I thought about buying season tickets at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, so we were going to buy a half-season package, but we couldn't. It was too pricey.
It was more expensive than I anticipated also. Then I was curious. It looked like everybody did the same thing with the thought of reselling them. I'm curious
don't let you.
What the secondary market looks like right now.
They told you that if you bought half-season tickets and then you tried to resell them, they would, flag them or something.
Really?
Yeah. Now, I could go online and I could buy tickets from the Fever box office and then put them on the secondary market and nobody would know. But I think for the half-season packages, I don't know if they have serial numbers or something like that on them, but they that's what they told me.
Lower bowl.
Or that's what I heard at least.
Lower bowl are still all going for $100 range.
Yeah, which is wild. I mean, that's more than you'd pay for a Pacers regular season game. I'm fewer games, but still. Yeah, I'm happy with where they are. They're about to go into the Olympic break. They've got Dallas, who's not very good. Tomorrow. We're taping this right now on Tuesday, so you get a win there, and then suddenly you're
sandwich is delightful.
10-12, 10-13, whatever their record is. I should have written that down. I wrote down all these other factoids. I didn't actually write down what their freaking record is, so that's pretty bad. 11-14. Okay, so if they win, so if they beat Dallas, it'll be 12-14. So they're climbing back towards 500. And they had a really disappointing game against Washington. Washington kind of stinks. and they slept through that home game.
Kind of.
They played three awful quarters.
Like to have back.
Yeah, they played 3 bad quarters, but that's occasionally that's kind of what you get.
Of course, the Fever are aligned with the Indiana Pacers, and the Pacers, I guess that was the last stop, if you will, from a professional standpoint of one of the true pillars of Indianapolis who was lost over the weekend, talking about Jim Morris. And I would certainly understand if you don't know the name Jim Morris, because he was one that was kind of a silent architect. Probably most notably his work, I shouldn't say that. It would be almost impossible to pinpoint which area was his most notable work, but the area where he was able to begin his greatest impact and influence was working in the mayoral staff and administration of Richard Lugar, which not only put together Unigov, but most importantly, had the vision for and the build of Market Square Arena, in the mid-'70s. Jim Morris then became the head of the Lilly Endowment, which obviously, spreads money philanthropically and civically throughout the city of Indianapolis. But he was the true visionary of downtown Indianapolis as we know it today. I spent the weekend in Des Moines, Iowa, which is honestly a very nice city, a nice town. People are friendly. It's a clean downtown. It's great. But the downtown of Des Moines looks a little bit like 1970s Indianapolis. They have an arena, but they don't have the professional sports footprint. Indianapolis obviously used Market Square Arena to catapult itself into another level and to separate itself from the city tier that it had been in for a very, very long time. The National Sports Festival in 1982, followed by the Pan American Games. Mark Miles, who is now the CEO of IndyCar and Penske Entertainment, I talked to Mark Miles about Jim Morris, and he said, I'll never forget when I got appointed to oversee the Pan Am Games. That happened in 1985, even though the Pan Am Games were in 1987. And I was told the first person I should meet with was Jim Morris, who he knew, obviously. So he went to meet with Jim Morris and said, here's the things that we think we're going to need for the Pan American Games. And Jim Morris laid out for him an outline of residential housing near Indiana Avenue, the continued growth of IUPUI, which the merging of a downtown university was the brain trust of Jim Morris, because he thought that Indianapolis, if it was going to be a major player city, needed a major player university, and for that matter, a confluence of 2 big ones in the state in the downtown area. And he was listing these things for Mark Miles, and Derek Marks said, No, I'm here to talk about the Pan American Games. And Jim Morris said, I understand that, and I'm here to talk about the things that are going to grow because of the Pan American Games. So while the city was thinking 2 years out for the Pan Am Games, Jim Morris was thinking 8 to 10 years out on what was going to happen because of the Pan American Games. He also worked for UNICEF. He worked a very strong initiative to end hunger around the world and feed children. He was involved in a number of different capacities. But as Gary Dick had said to me, it would be virtually impossible to find any area of Indianapolis that was one of growth of the last 30 years that did not have the fingerprint of Jim Morris on it. His latest job, of course, was he was an executive within Pacer Sports and Entertainment, but a true giant throughout the city, and one that when you go downtown and you experience any number of things throughout downtown Indianapolis, Jim Morris is the guy you're needing.
You know what? I knew about him in the Lugar administration, and obviously I knew about his impact with the Pacers and everything they did with the IU Board of Trustees and just at IU in general.
And Butler as well.
What I did not know was he was head of the Lilly Endowment and drove the funding that built the zoo and drove the funding that built the Hoosier Dome. Right. I didn't know that. And, Jim Morris was behind can you imagine the city without the zoo and without the dome? Or, I know the dome isn't there anymore, but what that meant for moving forward. If you're making a Mount Rushmore of the people that are the reason why Indy's downtown and sports scene is where it is today, he's on it.
Oh, absolutely.
It doesn't matter where you put him, and I'm not going to rank him, but it's basically Lugar, Hudnut, Morris, and I think you'd probably throw Mark Miles on there.
Yeah,
I think that, right?
The executives from the sports corps as well, the original executives.
Yeah.
But yes, no question.
That's kind of where you are with it. He was a person that almost had, I don't want to say an invisible impact, but a non-visible impact where it was all behind
He was the city's silent partner.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And I did get the chance to meet him. I actually got the chance to sit in his suite one night via Eddie White, right? Because every brush with greatness is always somehow connected to Eddie. And
No, you didn't meet me through Eddie. That's one.
That one. Now I'm talking about brushes with greatness. Ash and I went with James. James was like 2, and we went into Jim Morris's suite for a regular season game, and could not have been a nicer guy. They got us a little Pacers Indy car for James, and it was a fun night. And yeah, he was a great man. I never heard anybody. It sounds cliche to say this after somebody dies. I've never heard one person say anything bad about Jim Morris ever. And that's not the case with all prominent figures.
He will certainly be missed, and Derek, we should all aspire to have the impact and the legacy on the area that we live or grew up like he did. Although he was from Terre Haute, but Indiana through and through.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to bring the NFL to Trumbull, Connecticut.
You get the wiffle ball. That's good enough.
I did bring professional sports to Trumbull.
Okay.
But
and the backyard wrestling deal.
BY Dub. Actually, well, no, Dave Wakely's house was Trumbull. But we did a pay-per-view show in Fairfield. Because Steve Felmuth was at Prep. And we went to Fairfield and did a PPV at Steve's place. But
when's the last time you were in Trumbull?
2016, when my parents moved out. I went back to get my sister's car and drive it out here. No, sorry. My sister was with. I met my sister. She was driving her car out. I went back to get my dad's 2002 Honda Accord, which had like 30,000 miles on it, and drive it to Indiana because my parents obviously were moving. And I got out there, and the car wasn't there. And they said, well, we put it on a truck. And I'm like, Dad, why did you put a 15-year-old Honda? I came out here. I took a one-way ticket to LaGuardia, took the train in. I came out here to drive the car. And he said, well, we put on a truck. Just drive your sister back. So I drove Dorothy in her car back to Indiana.
Now, did it make you sad leaving the house?
Yeah, it did. I'm a very sentimental person.
So my parents this week officially let us know that they are moving. And they've lived in that house.
For real, for real?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they've bought a place.
Because your dad has told me that he was going to move
I know.
5 or 6 times
I know.
over the years.
But they bought a place.
Okay. In Indy?
In Indy. And the house that they're selling, I was fairly convinced 5 more years I could have gotten the placard in the front yard. Childhood home, right?
Of Jay Quarry?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Relevant historical figure.
But they moved into that house in June of 1978, which was 3 months before I started kindergarten. I've lived in it my entire life. I mean, not I haven't. I mean, my parents have essentially my entire adult life from the age of 6 until now. Here's my question, Derek. My childhood closet was, I had the middle bedroom. I'm the youngest of 3, but I had an awesome closet, and it was kind of a multi-tiered closet, okay? It was kind of my fort when I was a kid. So the wall of my bedroom closet has all kinds of, it's where I practiced my autograph when I was a kid. Every person that you know that you've ever met through me that I grew up with has signed the wall. We put all of our crushes in there. You know, I love Ann Sprague, 1983, you know, whatever. I mean, it's got to have 70 different signatures, confessions, sports team logos, stickers, all of it, right? Probably an area about the size of this screen. Now, 2-part question. The first is, do you think it's feasible? And the second is, do you think it's ridiculous if I say, I want to hire like a drywall person or a wall person
to cut it out,
to come in, cut that out, replace it, and then like placard it and turn it into a table or whatever?
No, I don't think that's ridiculous at all. But that's how my mind works too. I'm very sentimental about stuff like that. Can I see it before they sell it? Will you take me there? You've told me so many stories about your childhood room, and I would just like to see it because you still have like the pennants. It's basically like a time capsule, isn't it?
No, I wish it was.
Oh, okay.
Some of it, but for the most part, it's a guest bedroom.
It's like Ryan White's room at this children's museum,
correct?
Right? That's
for the most part,
like.
it's now a guest bedroom. But
yeah, gotcha.
there was
I would like to see it.
I mean, like I said, the backyard. Now, here's the one thing that, and you tell me, and maybe I shouldn't confess this. The one thing that makes me sad, and then I want you to tell me if you think it's weird.
Okay.
And I get it. I mean, it's inevitable. Father Times, I get all of it. In the backyard, my parents lived there for 46 years. In the backyard, we have 3 family pets' graves.
Yeah, don't exhume the pets' graves and rebury them in Shannon's yard.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, okay, good.
2 cats and a very small dog that was the size of a cat. There is a part of me that makes me sad because I feel like we're abandoning them. Now,
I wouldn't worry about that. Yeah, I know you love animals, but they're fine.
But is that abnormal for somebody that's lived in a house for a long time?
I don't know if it's abnormal.
With a big backyard? Did you do that in Trumbull?
Yeah, in the backyard, yeah. But, for me, and this is different from you because I know you lived in St. Louis for a while, but for the most part, you've remained around, right? For me, when I started going back to my parents' house in, 2010, 12, 13, it kind of stopped being home.
I get it.
It just did. I had been gone for a long time, and it wasn't the same.
The biggest thing for me is, I've had 46 Christmases in that house.
Yeah.
That's that kind of thing.
That's still weird. Christmas is still weird for me to wake up and I'm sitting on the same furniture that I sat on because we always do it at my parents' place in Carmel, but to not be in my house for Christmas because that's where we had every Christmas.
Yeah.
We're always at home. So,
okay.
Great. We're having an interesting show today. We've been kind of all over the place. Let me look at
July. That's why I said Happy July.
Let me look at where we are. Okay, so we got about 15 minutes or so left. We come back on the show. We've got to get to our Love That Play.
Yep.
We got quick hits to get to as well, and Chateau Kitchen's Bader Bowlbleed. It's Corey and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network.
At Bailey and Wood.
Welcome back. Bailey and Wood presents Corey and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network. Thanks so much for tuning in this week. You know what, Jake? When you talk about your closet and the people signing it, I can assure you that Chris and John Love's signatures are in there.
Correct.
Probably multiple times.
Correct.
Probably all of their crushes are in there.
Correct.
Maybe one of their wives' names? Would it have been that era, or did one of them meet anyone in high school?
No, both of them married girls they met after high school. So it goes up until probably
91, 90?
93 or 4.
Oh, wow. So it's into some
through
of the college years.
Yeah.
We had the only time we ever did it at Varsity Villas, my ex-girlfriend's apartment. She had an upstairs bathroom that was had a door on each side, so both people in the bedrooms could access it. So she and her other roommate could access it, and it was kind of like a small space, but it had this almost like infrared. Remember, like the old school bathroom lights, like this infrared light. So we would go in there to, and we'd write on the wall after we did what we did in there, and other people would come up in there and would write on the wall. Varsity Villas in Bloomington. Yeah, and I would love to have preserved those memories.
Anything that you can think of that would be a worse business venture than owning rental properties in a college town?
No, but you know what? Those people, the people that do it, are absolute pariahs. Like they charge. They never give you your security deposit back. Like we took pretty good care of our. We didn't take good care of our 7-bedroom house where we lived with 6 people. We didn't take good care of that. We deserved to not get our security deposit. But the last year that I was in Bloomington, we lived at a house at First and Walnut, and we took really good care of that place. And they still tried to get us on the security deposit, and we had to kind of fight them for it.
Right.
Because it was just me and 3 other people, and we were a little more mature then. I had graduated. We weren't smoking in bathrooms anymore. Stuff like that. What was I going to say? Love Heating and Cooling, of course. That's what we were talking about. Chris and John Love.
Love Heating and Air, by the way. Love-HVAC.com. 317-353-2141 is the telephone number. Chris and John Love, as you just heard from Derek, I've known them my whole life, and they treat me like family. They will treat you like family as well. That's one of the many things that you love about Love Heating and Air, because they have great product. They have integrity and honesty. Like if you have something that, your furnace is rattling, they come look at it. They're not the kind of group that's going to say, oh, you need an all-new unit. No, if it's a simple fix, they're going to tell you this is a simple fix. That's what you want. And 24-hour on-call maintenance. Absolutely love Heating and Air. We have had several people that through this show have contacted them and then immediately said, you know what, those guys are great. You weren't lying to me. 317-353-2141, love-hvac.com. Derek, the Love That Play is pretty easy.
Yeah, I thought so. Tyrese Halliburton only took 4 shots, but the 2 that he made came at a huge sequence for Team USA. It was just an exhibition against the Aussies, but still, it's the margin for error for Team USA men's basketball is 0, right? and even the women at this point. You expect to win every game
Correct.
and win every game big. Now, they did not beat the Aussies big, but at about the 3-minute mark of Monday's game.
At one point, it looked like they were going to.
Yeah, they had missed 7 straight shots. Their lead had been cut to 6. Come down, Halliburton hits a 3. Next possession, Halliburton hits another 3, pushes the lead, doubles the lead from 6 to 12, and that kind of put the game on ice.
Right.
Americans held on for a 6-point win. So, love to see it. I mean, from the people on the outside looking in, Halliburton looks like the last guy on the team, the worst guy on the team, which sounds kind of stupid to say. Yeah, you're the worst Olympian, right?
You know who I would think that is?
But I think he's a great fit.
When I look at that roster, the one that I'm like, yeah, he kind of feels like a throw-in.
Drew?
I mean, you could say Derek White now
Yeah.
because he kind of is.
Sure.
But no, Drew Holiday to me makes sense because he's an elite defender. I'd start Drew Holiday.
So is Bam, if you're going to say Bam.
No,
is that
I
what you're
think
going to say?
Bam's tremendous.
Okay.
This guy's
I honestly don't know who you're going to
This
say.
guy's a great player.
Huh.
Okay? He's the guy
Greg
I'm about
was
to
just
say.
stretching. I thought he was
The guy I'm
going
about
to
to say is a great player. But each player on that roster, I go back to the 84 Olympic team when Knight was the coach, and I know that I'm going on the way back here. But that roster, there were players on it that the selection seemed odd. Barkley got cut, and Stockton and Malone got cut. But then when you looked at the way that team was built, each player had a defined role, okay?
Yeah.
With this particular group, every player on that roster has either a defined purpose or do something better than most people in the league, a la Drew Holiday's defense,
Yeah.
a la Bam Adebayo's. I think I call him the sprinkler because, he can spray the ball around a number of different places when you get in trouble. The guy that is, to me, the least versatile is Devin Booker. He's a great player, but
Yeah,
you don't need his scoring.
I hear
so
you.
without
Yeah.
his scoring, Anthony Edwards is the backcourt scorer. I mean, that guy is if the ball's going to him, it's going up, and it's probably going in.
Yeah, Devin Booker is like this
And he's a great
generation's
player, don't get me
Glenn
wrong.
Rice. Right?
Yes,
Like
yes.
he pretty much can score a bunch, and he's one of the best scorers that there is, but that's pretty much what he does.
Correct. And he's tremendous, don't get me wrong. But he brings to the table the one thing that they probably don't need.
Yeah. And he's probably a better player than Glenn Rice, even though Glenn Rice is really good. Like,
Here's the thing. If the USA Olympic basketball team was a pitch-in, Devin Booker is bringing an unbelievably good queso dip. And it's like, yeah, except for that, like
we wouldn't miss it if it wasn't here.
7 other people have brought a queso dip.
And we wouldn't miss it if it wasn't here, type of
Right.
thing. Yeah, no, that's fair. I think that's fair.
I mean, Halliburton, from a facilitating standpoint,
Yeah,
is why he's there.
he fits any and every lineup
Correct.
that you could possibly conjure up because that's just how that's how versatile he is.
If you won a gold medal, where would you put it?
I'd probably just give it to my parents or something. I don't know. That's a good question. It's kind of like, where do I want my ashes scattered? I don't know yet.
Well, you're not going to be buried?
No.
Why?
No. You're the last generation that maybe gets buried. No one else is going to do that moving forward. Vince, you getting buried? Yeah, nah. Nobody younger than 50 is getting buried.
Here's the only problem with the cremation thing. Does it bother you, the process, at all?
No.
Why?
Once I'm dead, I'm dead. Just please just
But here's the
leave
thing.
me alone.
Like they put you they put you into the oven, right?
Yeah.
There's more to it than that.
I understand, but at that point, I'm gone.
There's about a 4-hour.
Like, I'm hanging with JC. There's I'm replaying all the best moments of my life. I have all my dead pets and hot chicks and everything that's around me. Like, I've got big piles of gold, and there's all these dogs to pet. Like, I'm good. I'm gone. Just take my body and do whatever I want. Do whatever you want with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The grinding doesn't bother you?
No, I don't care.
Okay.
My body is just a
But
vehicle.
what about this?
It's a vehicle for this awesomeness.
then-
And it's hard for me because obviously it's a great body. Like, I don't want this to go away. This is, I've worked hard on it. It's beautiful. It's sleek. It's sexy. It's muscular. Like, I understand where you're coming from here because you see it and you're shocked, right? That you're like, why would you want to crunch and melt this body away? I totally understand what you're saying. I get it.
Did you just touch me?
That's not what
Okay.
I care about.
But So let me ask you
When I'm
this.
dead, I'm gone.
Then what happened? So you want your ashes sprinkled. Does it bother you that like 50 years later there's no record of you?
Oh, there'll be lots of records of me. I mean, I'll probably have I'm surprised I don't have a Wikipedia entry already. But there's a legacy that's already
But like a
built
place
and
for
lasting.
people to pay their respect to you. A marker.
No, because why would anyone care? Like 200 years from now, why would anyone care?
It's the difference between the two of us.
Yeah, but I mean, it just right. It's our own vanity that we're thinking about this. But honestly, 200 years from now, 300 years from now, why would anyone care? I don't care about somebody that was some long lost relative that died in 1710. Right? They're gone. They've been gone. I don't even know their name. I don't care. And it's not
George
to be
Washington?
crass, but no. I mean, there are legends like that, but you and I aren't there.
Like I said.
Yeah. Where would you have your ashes scattered if
Still
you did
time.
get it?
Well, I will
Where
tell
the
you
Steak and
this.
Shake used to be at 86 in Westfield? Right on there.
That'd be a good one. I will tell you this. I have had numerous people, and I have not been able to do it. I'm not allowed to
I
do
know
it.
what you're going to say.
I'm
Yeah,
not allowed to
I
do
know what
it.
you're going to say.
But a lot of people have asked if I could facilitate or assist in the sprinkling during the Indy 500. I cannot do that.
And Doug has addressed that multiple times.
Cannot
Doug
do
Bowles.
that. It's been asked a lot. I don't know. I don't like water.
Yeah. And that's the most easy. That's the easiest vehicle to do it. Like, hey, we loved Lake Wawasee, and that's
Right.
where we grew up, and
that's-
all these great I met my wife there or whatever. And
Actually, how about this? I can't do it now because my parents are moving. The backyard with family pets.
yeah. I will, since I'll.
Will people think that's weird? The new owners, if eventually somebody shows up at the door
that Jay Quarry's ashes are back there.
and they're like, no,
Little
if they're like,
urn.
hey, can we go in the backyard and sprinkle these?
No, I don't think it's. I don't think that's weird. Honestly, I bet people have done that before. Since you'll precede me in death by probably 10 to 12 years, I will do whatever. If you do get cremated, I'll do whatever you want me to do with the ashes. I'll be the handler. I'll handle your estate. If you want to sign some docs, we can get together with Josh, my lawyer, and we can talk about that too.
Yeah, I'm going to put that as unlikely.
Okay, I'm just offering as a friend.
I have no.
If you would like
trust.
me to handle your estate, I
There,
will.
I have zero faith or trust in you properly handling my ashes if it came to that. There's no chance that you'll be a pallbearer because your little hands won't go on that railing.
Well, you need
You'll
somebody to
drop.
lift it up.
Yeah, okay. Are you gonna flinch your lips like that again?
What are you talking about? It's just lifting.
But you do this weird
No, I
constipated
don't-
look.
you
Yes,
keep,
you
keep
do.
saying that. I don't. It's just you have to lift the.
You don't lift it. What? You don't lift it above your head.
Then you hold it on your shoulder.
No, you do it this way,
No. Have you been a pallbearer?
like 9 times.
Yeah, me too.
And for whatever reason, every quarry that has passed away does it in the wintertime. So it's like you got to walk on ice.
Yeah,
that's rough,
that's
man.
tough. Yeah, that's tough. But I'll handle your monies or your ashes, whatever. you need
Anymore,
me
the
to do.
pallbearer responsibility gets cheated by that little cart.
Little
It's like lift it up and put it on the cart, and then they wheel it out, and you're like, well, they're supposed to be an honor.
We don't actually have time for quick hits. We're going to come back and do Chateau Kitchen's Biter Bowl Bleep because we were talking about Jake's ashes the entire time. We'll come back, wrap up the show next. It's Corey and Schultz, ISC Sports Network.
Hey, AC, which games are we going to tonight?
You know we cover all sports in Central Indiana. Hop in, it's going to be a long night.
Bailey and Wood Mortgage Lender, proud partner of News 8 Sports Hummer.
Hey, AC,
Nice snap.
mortgage is a snap. Duh.
Bailey and Wood, a lending hand for Wish TV Sports.
Back for a final time. It's Bailey and Wood presents Corey and Schultz here on the ISC Sports Network. Thanks to our great crew. Vince, Rake, Jordan. James is back there. He's not actually running the show, but he's back there hanging out and watching. JCC had no power today,
Oh, really?
so no summer camp. Had to go to dad
Does
with
he
work
enjoy
today.
summer camp?
Yeah, he loves it.
Did you ever go to
It's a
away?
swim.
What was your camp?
No, we didn't do like sleepaway camp. My mom was a school teacher, so she was always home for the summers. She was on the same calendar that we were.
Okay.
And so we would go to the pool and play wiffle ball in the yard, and all the neighborhood kids will come over. I just think it's a different experience now than it was 30 years ago.
I understand.
I mean, in the 80s, right? These summers you were home.
I
Yeah.
get up every morning at 10, watch Price is Right.
You were messing around.
Call Chris and
hop
John
on your
Love,
bike.
Hop on our bike,
Yeah.
ride over there.
Go get a sandwich or whatever else.
Spent a lot of time at Hillcrest. It was great.
It's a great one. Great country club over there by our old work where we got fired.
That's right.
Chateau Kitchens does great work on your home, anything on the interior, whether it be your kitchen, the title, a bathroom, maybe a basement like we did. Actually, we've done a kitchen, a bathroom, and a basement with Chateau Kitchens. Visit them online at chateaukitchens.com, and they can tackle your project and do a wonderful, wonderful work with unbelievable craftsmanship, cabinetry, the whole nine. Give Steven and his crew a shout also on social media at Chateau Kitchens and on Facebook and Instagram for before and after pictures. Statement number one, Jake, an 18-game NFL season is better than a 17-game one. Bite or Bull Blade?
I'm going to say Bull Schultz. I know I'm in the minority on this, but I think you run the risk of fatigue. And I don't mean for the players.
I think the records would sound better.
That's fair.
I just would never. I'm never getting used to 10-7.
Yeah.
I hate 9-8. Or 8-9. I hate it. I loved 8-8. There was something about they went 500. You know, the records and all that stuff don't really matter in football like they do in baseball. So I'm not looking at it that way. I understand why the players are like, yeah, you want to do an 18 game? Pay me more.
Right.
Or give me more of a share of the revenue. So I'll say yes. I think it's better than 17 game. But if I had my druthers, we'd just go back to 16. I love 16. I thought it was perfect. But 18 and an extra bye week and you shave off a preseason game, it seems like an inevitability at this point, and fine. Statement 2, someone besides Ben Shepherd will play a role for the NBA Pacers this season from the Summer League. Bite or Bull Bleep? So we're talking about Jarace, Tristan Newton, Enrique Freeman, Furphy, and that's Kendall Brown, who will be on be on the NBA roster.
I'll say Jarace Walker.
Yeah, okay.
Gets in a rotation. And I think Shepherd falls out of rotation a little bit. I think he was in rotation partially out of necessity.
I'll buy it and play the averages. I don't know if it's going to be Jarace. I think I'm not shut off to the possibility that by the end of the year, Furphy could get on the floor a little bit.
Depending on where they are, yeah.
Or even Freeman. Freeman looks like he knows what he's doing. I mean, I don't know. He's already on a 2-way deal.
Right.
So yeah, I'll buy it just to play the law of averages. I think my third one got deleted. I'm trying to remember what it was. I don't remember what my third one was. Do you have one just off the cuff? I'm trying to think.
Where are you sprinkling your ashes?
I think I'm going to do it in.
I mean, you're not going to be doing it, but
yeah, I think I might have them do it at York, Maine, because that's where I want to retire. But I'm trying to get Ashley to go for it. She doesn't want to live there in January.
York, Maine.
Yeah, York Beach. It's become a real special place to me. It's a special place to her family, and it's become a special place to me. And it's really the only chance that I get to go back east anymore.
So in the water?
Yeah, or on the beach, whatever.
What if you
Short Sands Beach is where I would do it. There's Short Sands and Long Sands. It would be on Short Sands.
Clearly, you would be on Short Sands, yeah.
Well, I mean, knowing me, it might be Long Sands.
No. Nope. No
you got
chance.
a third one?
No chance.
Do we have to wrap the show? All right, yeah, let's wrap. Thank you to Bailey & Wood Financial Group, Hoagies and Hops, and Chili Water Tap Room at 42nd and Boulevard, our friends at Chateau Kitchens, and, of course, Love
looks terrible.
Heating and Cooling. I agree. For our entire crew, for Jake, for me, I'm Derek, and that's Vince and Rake and Jordan and James. It's been Corey and Schultz. We'll see you next time here on the ISC Sports Network.
At Bailey & Wood, we pride ourselves